Hi everyone, Ansley here. I haven't posted a lot lately because I've been a little bit sad and depressed. And my husband and I went to Orlando and I got to work and see my friends and I had so much fun, and then we got back to New York City and I just kind of hit a wall. And it was hard for me to get past that. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about where we're going to go from here, some future family planning, and why I don't really want to do IVF. IVF for me is a little scary. I know a few women who have done it who've had great outcomes, but I don't really want to do IVF for a couple of reasons. My husband and I have a 75% chance of having a healthy child with no MGS and or just being an MGS carrier but not having the actual genetic disease. And we think those are really good numbers, kind of 75% to 25% of having another baby with MGS. That to me is kind of like, well, why wouldn't you try again naturally? So we're going to try again naturally. See where that takes us. If we do happen to get pregnant again naturally, then we have what's called a CVS testing. CVS testing is where they go in and they test the placenta, I think, and you can find out if the baby has MGS that early on. I know that when we went for our first 9-week scan, the doctors did see something wrong, but it wasn't obvious until our later scans. But the CVS testing would confirm whether they had MGS or not. So that's kind of our first step of if we try again naturally. IVF is great because they can test for the MGS disease in the embryos and then implant the embryos that are healthy and set the MGS embryos aside. So that would be, we 100% not have a baby with MGS. So that would be absolutely wonderful. And that is why our genetics counselor and our doctor are kind of pushing towards IVF, because I wouldn't have to go through what I went through the first time, which was absolutely horrible. So IVF is great in that way. However, IVF is very, very expensive. So not only will we have the expense of just IVF, we would have to add on the testing of the embryos to see if they had the genetic disorder or not. And that's another like $3,000 or $4,000 to $6,000 from what I've read. So IVF for us could cost anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000, just depending. And since we do live in New York City and we have some of the best doctors in the world, I would think that our IVF might be a little bit higher. But that's one of the reasons that IVF is kind of not high on our list at the moment. Is just we just don't have the money to afford it at the moment. IVF is also pretty invasive. You have to get shots every night with the Clomid. And that's just not something that I want to do right now. I hate shots, and I know that's so stupid as a grown woman to say, but I do. And I know that some women say, oh, well, it's not so bad. You have all this fear built up, and it's not so bad. But for me, I would just be terrified. I hate shots. I hate getting my blood taken. That's another part of IVF. You have a lot of doctor's appointments where you get your blood taken. There's just a lot that, to me, is very scary with all of IVF, and getting the shots is just not something that I want to do right now. Something else that my genetics counselor told us was that we could do a sperm donor, and we could just test to see if they have MGS or not. And if they don't, they just do IUI, which is kind of turkey baster, put it up there. But I want my children to be my husband's children, and I don't want to do sperm donation. So that's kind of out of the question. They mentioned it to us, and we were like, no, we're not doing that. So there are a lot of things that we can do to get pregnant and have a healthy baby, but we're just going to try again naturally, and we're going to see where that takes us. So that's kind of where we are on this journey of trying to start a family. We're in the process of trying again naturally. Who knows how long that will take, but we're also very aware that if this child has MGS, if we do get pregnant again, and if they have MGS, then we will turn towards IVF. And it's just really, I feel like when you have a genetic disorder and you're trying again naturally, it's hard to be very excited when you get that positive pregnancy test. I mean, I don't know. I'm just assuming, because I'm already scared that our child will have MGS again. So I wonder how it would feel to know that I'm pregnant again, and to have that fear of if they have MGS, and I don't know, it's hard to explain. I'm sure many women out there have felt the same way, is that if they have a genetic disorder, if they've had multiple miscarriages, it's hard to get excited until you're at that point where, like, okay, yes, I can be excited about this. I can be excited that I'm pregnant again, because he is going to live. And so, sorry, I'm getting emotional. I feel like every day that you're waiting to take a pregnancy test is like 10 years. And since I normally work from home, I have a lot of like time to think to myself, like, okay, is this really something that's gonna happen? You know, is this craving for food that I'm having right now because I'm pregnant? And you try and pick out every little detail. So yeah, there's just a lot of waiting going on right now, and I feel like there's the waiting to find out if you're pregnant, and then there's the waiting to find out if our baby has MGS, which is a fatal disorder. So there's just a lot of waiting that's going to go into the next couple of months to a year. So we'll see what happens within the next year. But I started this channel so that you guys could follow along and follow my journey, and so I needed to just let you know what was going on with me. You know, emotionally, and just where I'm at. It's not been easy the past week or so, and I think it's just because it's leading up to my due date, but I will get through it, and we'll have a fun vacation. And so happy 4th of July, and I'll see you next time.